Right, next section, bit of a new one, kind of similar to what we did have been doing the last month, but a winners and losers section. So winners can be a player, a team, a conference, a division, a set of like a position of players in a team. It could be anything really. So who's your first winner of week 8?
Mine are actually all teams for this, but I'll start off with the Philly Eagles. Dusted up the Cowboys as they should have, but it's kind of fair to say that they're going to win the division now. Like it's going to take a lot for them not to win now, so they should be happy with that.
Yeah, they're not playing well at all. Yeah, they're not playing well, and they do suck, as you said, but they are definitely looking like a step above the other three at the moment. And like, I don't think they'll trouble anyone in the playoffs. Really, it's a pretty ideal matchup for a wildcard team to get. But who knows? Full strength. They do have a lot of injuries. They are slowly getting better each game, it seems. Although Wentz did have a bit of a shocker this weekend. But yeah, they might hit form by then. I don't know, but yeah, at the moment it definitely looks like they'll be there. Maybe 7 wins or something like that. But we'll see. That that division kind of surprises us each week. Do you rate Jalen Reagor? He kind of made a comeback this week, and don't think he scored. I don't know if he scored a touchdown. Definitely scored a 2-point conversion. Do you think he's going to make a difference to their offense, or do you think it's just Wentz being crap and it's kind of all over?
Well, he's being hyped up quite a lot as one of like the top rookies of this class. We haven't really seen him much yet, but I think they're pretty confident that he'll be a god. So hopefully he does.
Yeah, and Sanders should be back. Soon, sooner rather than later, and then Ertz as well. He's got to come back from IR, and Dallas got it return. I don't think he did much in his return from IR, but yeah, once they've got all those guys, and then yes, Deshaun Jackson is still injured. I don't know what's happening with Alshon Jeffrey, but they slowly will start to get better. Lane Johnson, I know, is one of the better tackles in the league. He's been out as well, so all of a sudden a few pieces come back into that puzzle, and Philly aren't looking too bad. But yeah, 100%, I think we can pencil them in for the playoffs there. But you'd be licking your lips really if you were the number 1 wild card.
Yeah, it's almost worth tanking to get the number 1 wild card spot.
Yeah, it's actually an interesting thought. My first win is your man. I hope I'm not stealing your thunder here, but Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals as a whole. They've had a pretty frustrating fortnight with honourable losses. It's always a tough one, an honourable loss, because you're happy you're not getting thumped, but then at the same time you want, reward for your hard work. So they went within inches of beating the Colts, and then again the Browns last week. They were within a score of winning those 2 games. But yeah, the Bengals notched up their second win of the season against an informed Tennessee Titans team. Going to this week, I probably considered them the 3rd seed in the AFC behind the Chiefs and the Steelers. So a highly ranked team. And yeah, the Bengals beat them. Just some points to mention that impressed me with this one. They had 5 drives for longer than 5 minutes. So if you look at the box scores, Tennessee actually dominated them. They ran 150 yards on the ground, and then they went I think Tanner's had over 250 yards in the air or something like that. And the Bengals didn't go anywhere near that. But yeah, they just grinded out a win, which is good to see against a good team. But yeah, 5 drives for longer than 5 minutes, including a 5-minute and 40-second drive in the latter part of the 4th quarter, which really just sealed the deal. Lots of small completions there from Burrow, just controlled footy, smart play. And from moving on here forward with the Bengals, they've got the Steelers this week, which will be a pretty hard one for them, I have to admit. Then they've got the bye. And then after the bye, they've got Washington, the Giants, the Dolphins, and the Cowboys. So, yes, the Bengals aren't the greatest of sides. They've been a bit inconsistent. But they're a genuine chance of winning 3 of those matches, if not all 4. And if they go 4-4 there, we could be seeing them at a 500 record, which would be pretty remarkable, given that they've got a rookie quarterback, and last year they only won 2 matches. So positive signs in Cincinnati. They did trade away one of their better defensive players, Carlos Dunlap, to the Seahawks, but I don't think he really wanted to be there anyway, so it's probably fair play. But yeah, positive signs for the Bengals. They've got a good, exciting young crop of players. So love to see it. Really,
Yep,
you a man?
that was my other winner as well.
Oh, I thought it
Um,
was going to be sorry.
I was stoked when I saw they beat the Titans. I reckon they've been underrated. Like I do love the Bengals, so I'm a bit biased, but I reckon they've been underrated all year. They've lost 3 of their games by a field goal,
Yeah,
both times to the Browns and to the Chargers. And I could see them doing a bit of a Miami of last year, but even better, and go on like win a few games toward the end of the year, get a respectable record, and then next season, who knows?
yeah,
They've got weapons.
yeah. It's hard for them because they are in a very good division. They have to play the
Yeah,
Steelers and
that's true.
Ravens twice each, and the Browns. They're pretty decent as well. But yeah, they're doing very well with what they've been given. And yeah, I 100% agree. A bit like Miami last year. Um, so that's your 2 winners taken up. Sorry for that, brother. But my other winner is the Miami defense. They absolutely balled out this week. Um, just for some context, last year they conceded the most points in the whole competition last year, and they were tied third last. I know that's quite a niche little position there, but tied third last for turnovers. So they were basically absolutely nothing. They were basically a turnstile that would just let you walk through to the end zone. But they led their side to a 28-17 win over the Rams, despite only having 145 total yards of offense. This game was just ridiculous. It wasn't on TV for us here in Australia. I was kind of just following it, following like the box scores and the play-by-plays, and yeah, it was just outrageous. Like I don't know, they just got out to such a big lead so quick, and all their offensive players just had no stats. It was just crazy. But they had managed 4 turnovers in the first half, 2 forced fumbles, 2 interceptions, and yeah, the game was pretty much done by halftime purely because of that. And so far this season, they're actually averaging the least points against of any defense in the comp, which
Really?
not many people would know that. But this week, made them overtake the Bucks and a few other sides, I think. But yeah, and they're also currently tied second for most turnovers in the competition. So yeah, really helping out the offense, which is it probably looks like it's doing better than it is because of this defense. And it's really going to help Tua out, I think, knowing that he's got guys who can stop the opposition pretty quickly. And yeah, you will imagine like on the weekend, Tua will struggle early because it's a huge step up to the NFL, and he hasn't played since last December. So I think having an awesome defense will really help him out. And who knows, could be like the Steelers last year. Their defense might be able to carry them all the way to the playoffs. Well, no, the Steelers missed out on the playoffs. My bad, but almost to the playoffs. They,
How did they miss out last year?
um,
I think
they might.
no, they did. They didn't make it.
Yeah, they. I'm pretty sure.
Surprising.
Yeah, they just missed out. They just
Yeah.
missed out on the last wild card. But no, that's good because they had Mason Rudolph as quarterback.
Oh, true. Yeah, I forgot about that.
So no
That
one
was the
wants
sole reason.
no one wants to see that in the playoffs. All right, losers of the week. Who's your first loser here?
Um, I'll go the Chargers. Following on from um, you talking about the Broncos Chargers game, that was just a disgrace of a choke from the
Yeah,
Chargers.
pretty bad.
We were laughing mid match. The Chargers were genuinely taking the piss on offense at the start of the third quarter because they were up by 21 points. They had like Keenan Allen throwing passes to people on trick plays. Just seemed like they were blowing them out, and then all of a sudden, I don't even know what happened, but the Broncos just came back and stole the victory. Should never have happened. It
Yeah,
was disgraceful.
I
And
don't know what's going on with the
yeah,
Chargers defense this
they
year.
just don't know. I swear their defense has been good, but they just don't
Yeah,
know how to win games.
yeah, yeah. It's bizarre. Like we've watched a couple of their games, and the defense seems to be causing the opposition trouble. But if you look at the stats, their defense is actually not doing very well at all.
Yeah,
Like compared to what we're used to with the Chargers. Like in compared to the rest of the league, they're just sitting about average. But we when we think of the Chargers, we think of a high quality team. And yes, it doesn't help that Derwin James is out, who's like arguably their most talented player next to like Joey Bosa. But yeah, it's bizarre. And conceding 31 points to the Broncos, including 21 points in the last quarter, it's just
yeah,
strange. And I saw today they dealt one of their best, I think he's their best cornerback, Desmond King. So yeah, I think that was. Oh, I can't remember where he went actually. I've forgotten now. But yeah,
Did
he's
they trade
gone.
him
So
today?
yeah, they traded him. So maybe they're already kind of looking at next year, because this year's all over pretty much for the Chargers.
It's weird because they're genuinely beast on paper on offense and defense, but somehow they're just Boris. So because
Yeah, they just
Herbert's a beast, Keenan Allen's a beast. I guess Eckler is a pretty rough not to have, but who knows?
yeah. Yeah, it is strange, but there's positive signs for the future, I guess, if this is what a rookie quarterback's doing.
Yeah, definitely.
Um, my first loser of the week is just the whole NFC. It took a real blow this weekend. The NFC it's just looking a lot weaker than the AFC at the moment, which you would have probably laughed at last year if we said that
Yeah,
for the NFC.
preseason we were saying the complete opposite.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, the Buccaneers, who are arguably the NFC strongest side going into the weekend, I definitely believe that. I thought they were the strongest in the NFL. They just beat the New York Giants. We were down at the park. Nice hot day here in Australia, in Melbourne. I was going to say Australia, but that's might not have been a hot day
Technically
everywhere.
correct.
Yes, and we were just following that score, and we couldn't believe our eyes. We were just so baffled. But yeah, that's the Buccaneers. They're racking up wins, but they've had a few results. They lost to the Bears, and now they've almost lost to the Giants. And I know they had a couple injuries, but they don't look as invincible some weeks as they do others. Yeah, starting to become a bit of an inconsistent side, but their defense is kind of keeping them in it. And then the Packers, the big upset of the week, lost to the Vikings. Dalvin Cook tore them to absolute shreds.
Yeah,
Um,
he's a beast.
yeah, it wasn't even the Vikings. Kirk Cousins, I think, threw the ball 14 times. So, but yeah, that's starting to become a bit of a concern for the Packers. Their defense seems to be like they didn't even score that many points. The Vikings, to be fair, I think they scored 28. But yeah, the Packers' defense is similar to the Seahawks, although the Seahawks' defense did kind of man up this week against the 49ers. But yeah, the Packers, that's what is stopping them from becoming a Super Bowl contender. Basically, their defense
It's
is just
weird. It's weird.
struggling.
It's weird that they have like such a good pass rush, but they can't stop the run.
Yeah, I don't get how a pass rush and run defense can be different because
Yeah,
it's like
it's
the
weird.
same blokes. But yeah, it is weird. So yeah, that's my biggest loser of the NFC. What's your second one?
Yep, fair enough. I've got the Ravens. I think this was a game that they probably needed to and should have won at home against the Steelers. Huge match, and didn't get it done. So I can't really see them winning their division now. Steelers have pretty much got it wrapped up, and the
Yeah,
Ravens will be fighting it off in the wild cards, which isn't ideal considering what we were expecting preseason.
yeah, definitely not ideal. There's not really not like the NFC. There's not really a weak NFC division, AFC divisional champion. Um, you're probably looking at the Bills and the Titans as to who the Ravens would be playing week one. If they do, as we would expect, take out the probably the number one or number two wildcard spot. But yeah, it's so disappointing. And Lamar, he didn't have the worst game, but 4 turnovers. He keeps doing this in big games. Like against the Titans last year in the playoffs. He went for huge yardage, but had 3 turnovers. And it doesn't really matter how far up the field you're going if you're just going to give them the ball back 3 times a match. It's pretty hard to get your team over the line. And yeah, my second loser was actually Lamar Jackson because he just keeps failing in the big games. I know it's kind of harsh to put it all on him because a lot of the time he is on his own out there in that offense. But this week they got the run game going nicely, which was pretty unexpected against the Steelers.
Yeah,
Yes, he doesn't have many weapons to throw to, but yeah, big game against divisional rivals, conference competitors. And yeah, he just didn't turn up really. And now that's 3 big matches in a row. I was looking back actually, and even all the way back to 2018, although it's stiff bringing up matches from his rookie year when he was a completely different player. But yeah, the last 3 big matches he's had, the Chiefs in week 3 or week 4, I can't remember which one it was. He only had 180 yards total offense. And yeah, the Titans in the playoffs, he had 3 turnovers, and on the weekend he had 4 turnovers. So yeah, it's becoming a bit of an issue for Lamar Jackson. Definitely going to hurt his reputation if he doesn't fix that. And realistically, it's going to prevent Baltimore from doing anything because you've got to win big matches to, make it push for the title. So, yeah, probably starting to get pretty frustrating for Baltimore fans because, like, all well and good that you can beat Cincinnati 30-3, but if you can't challenge these big games, like, what's the point of pumping small sides?
I'm surprised they didn't sign any new weapons in the trade window.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
That's what they need. Same with the Packers, but guess we'll. Yeah. I think AB might have been linked to the Ravens at one point. Oh no, sorry, that was Des Bryant, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, no, Des Bryant does.
Yeah,
but he's on the practice squad, and who knows what's going to happen there. But yeah, Marquise Brown.
Yeah, he's been a letdown.
He lipped off on Twitter.
Did he?
Not happy with the amount of action he's seeing. He wants more footy apparently, and he said something on Twitter about it. Only saw 2 targets, but yeah, maybe that's his fault for not getting open. I can't say. I've just stared at him every Ravens game, but yeah, Lamar's got a lift because at the moment it's not good enough. But there are positive signs. J.K. Dobbins, bit of a breakout game on the weekend. Gus Edwards looks a lot superior to Mark Ingram. So if they can get that run game going, then that probably makes Lamar Jackson more dangerous. And then once they start focusing on the run game, then Lamar, he's probably got more margin for error in the passing game. So, there are positive signs, and the defense is playing great. So it's not all doom and gloom for the Ravens, but it is starting to become a bit of a worry now. Their big game form is just pretty bad, and that they need to buck that trend quickly.
Queensland, it's a miracle! Oh yeah! What about that one? Unbelievable! Balotelli, Aguero! Crowd cheers. Here's Siddle.